This is the second video in the series Preparing Your Car for Winter. Today I'm going to talk about something called a windshield cover. This is my first winter with something like this. So, I'll share my impressions, the positive aspects, and of course the downsides. They are definitely there. Where would we be without them? The cover comes packaged. It comes in this kind of packaging. This is a Ziploc type bag, and on one hand that's a plus, but on the other hand it's a minus. But I'll stop here and go into more detail below. The material itself is nice to the touch. It's some kind of synthetic material, 2 layers. The inner and outer layers are welded together, which is very good. The ends are stitched. The stitching is even. Everything is good with it. No complaints. The material is moderately dense, almost impermeable to sunlight. It feels like it should last a long time. It has some water repellent effect. However, the weather outside is changeable. Well, it's like a Euro winter, plus during the day minus at night. It gets a little damp. I have a few small issues with the elastic band. It feels a bit flimsy. I can't say that it doesn't stretch, nor can I say that it's lacking. And again, there are absolutely no problems with it so far. Let's see what happens after winter. It just seems a bit flimsy, although it performs its function perfectly.
Taking this opportunity, I have a small announcement. I have a feature called sponsorship now available on my channel. If you're watching this channel because of the videos dedicated to the Peugeot 308, if you like what I'm doing, you like it. And besides likes and kind words in the comments, you're ready to support the channel and its growth. I would be grateful. Of course, it's not just for nothing and not for pretty eyes. Sponsors get nice bonuses. All the details are in the video and the link to it is in the description.
As for installing the cover on the windshield, I was a bit disappointed. Specifically, I somehow forgot that I have a roof. It's panoramic, glass not metal, so it won't stick with magnets. But this particular model of the cover didn't have magnets on top, but they are at the bottom, and it seemed like a success. But, here too, the French car had a surprise in store for me. But the hood doesn't stick, it's aluminum. And it turns out that for me personally, magnets are neither hot nor cold. So personally, I shoved this cover under the hood, not on it. As it should be? Well, yeah, alright. As for the rest of the installation, surprisingly everything is quite convenient. We put the elastic bands on the mirrors, and that's already enough to keep the cover from being blown away by the wind. After that, we close these ears with the door, and the whole structure holds very securely. If the kids want to steal this thing, they'll do it. Don't doubt it. But it can be torn off by gusts of wind. Well, probably. But the wind would have to be stormy, because the door presses the cover down very tightly. Very tightly. At the same time, there's no gap in the rubber for moisture to get into the cabin without the magnets. The top edge gets lifted by gusts of wind, but as practice has shown, it doesn't affect the performance. The glass is still clean in the morning, but the part that gets lifted from the bottom is already worse. Just to remind you, there are magnets, but the hood is aluminum. So, even though the cover gets lifted, there's minimal snow underneath. And even in that case, the effect of the cover is huge. The glass is clean, not frozen, without snow. As for the magnets, I tried them on another car, specifically on a Renault Duster, and to be honest, I didn't really like them. The magnets here are kind of weak, and with a strong gust of wind, the cover can still be blown open. So, I also tried to shove the cover under the hood on the Duster. That's not right, but the method works. But there are no magnets on top, and the wind pulls the cover a bit. But again, surprisingly, it doesn't really affect the performance at all. Well, let's move on to the conclusions about this cover. First, the pros. The most important thing is that the cover works. No snow gets on the windshield and the glass doesn't get covered in ice. You just throw the cover on and the windshield is clean and dry. Next, the good stuff. The material is dense and high quality. It will last quite a while. By the way, you can also use the cover in the summer. It hardly lets any light through. The cover doesn't have pockets for the mirrors. Well, let's call them that. And in heavy snowfall, that's definitely going to be a downside. In normal weather, like right now, it didn't bother me at all. There's minimal snow on the mirrors. But under certain conditions, it will definitely get covered. Next, the downsides. There are no magnets on top, only at the bottom. So, the cover doesn't attach to the roof. In my situation with the panoramic roof, it doesn't make a difference. Well, overall, it's not that great. Further, the magnets that are at the bottom, they stick, but in strong winds, the magnets might not help. Let's move on to the downsides. Package included. If it were just a bit bigger, it would be priceless. No, the cover definitely fits in it, but only if you fold it neatly. But, as it sometimes happens, you rush and fold it carelessly, just quickly, so the cover might stick out. Well, it's up to you to decide whether the downside is with me or with the bag. Well, that's probably it. So, it might seem like there are a lot of downsides, even more than the upsides. But despite all that, I'm happy with the purchase. The cover really works, even without magnets on the top and bottom, even in strong winds when it gets lifted. The amount of snow on the glass is ultimately minimal. I'm actually satisfied with everything. So this thing definitely has a right to exist. So in the end, do I recommend it or not? Look, I'll put it this way. If this cover is at a good price, then go for it. Despite all its downsides and flaws, it works great. This is supported by a large number of positive reviews. But if there's an option with closing mirrors and magnets around the edges at the same price, then I would consider the more premium option, so it all comes down to the price. I'll repeat, as a budget option, not bad, you can go for it. Well, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye everyone.